Welcome back to EV Unplugged. I'm Craig, and today we're breaking down the biggest EV stories from September 2025. From Tesla's mixed results in Europe to Hyundai smashing records to futuristic charging lanes and even a little bit about cybersecurity threats. So stay tuned. There's a lot to cover, so let's just dive straight in. Tesla had a tough month again in the UK with just over 8,000 registrations in September, which is basically flat compared to the last year. But overall, the wider EV market in the UK has surged by more than 20%, suggesting that Tesla may be losing ground to new competitors. That's not what the media's telling you. Across Europe, things looked a little bit better for Tesla, especially in Spain, where registrations were up 3.4% year on year, with nearly 3,000 vehicles sold. Modest growth, but a sign that the brand still remains resilient in certain markets. Over in the US, Hyundai Motor America reported a record-breaking September. Sales climbed by over 14%. But here's the kicker, EV car sales jumped an incredible 153% compared to last year. That puts Hyundai right in the spotlight as a serious challenger in the EV space in America. Here's some encouraging news for anyone considering to switch to electric. In 2024, EVs were on average about 33% more expensive than petrol cars in the UK. This September, that gap has narrowed. It's now just 19%. The shift comes down to manufacturers ramping up production, making vehicles more available, competition from Chinese brands, and lower battery costs overall. For the first time, EVs are no longer seen as purely a premium product. They're starting to make financial sense, right from the showroom floor, even before you factor in fuel and maintenance savings. Now, the UK's government's £650 million EV grant scheme is also influencing buying decisions. Surveys show more than a third of drivers say the subsidy makes them more likely to go electric. That's a solid nudge in the right direction. But is it enough? So here's where things get a little bit tricky. As of now, only 2 models qualify for the full £3,750 grant. That's the Ford Puma Gen E in the e-Torino Courier. That means if you're eyeing a Tesla Model Y or a Hyundai Ioniq 5, then you're out of luck. They don't make the cut. Critics argue that this limits the scheme's effectiveness, but the government has hinted more models could soon qualify if car makers adjust their pricing to bring them under that threshold cap. For now, though, it feels like a missed opportunity not to give buyers more choice. India has announced all new EVs will need to come fitted with an acoustic vehicle alerting system starting in October 2026. Existing EVs will need to comply by 2027. These systems generate artificial sound at low speeds, making EVs easier for pedestrians to hear. A big safety move as adoption ramps up, and one that I fully back. On the performance side, BYD's luxury brand Yangwang stunned the industry by unveiling the U9 Extreme Hypercar. It broke the world record for the fastest production EV ever, clocking in at an insane 496 kilometers per hour. That's hypercar territory and a big PR win for BYD as they try to push beyond their mainstream image. So let's talk a little bit about future tech now. Imagine driving down the motorway while it just charges itself. Researchers are actively testing inductive charging lanes, similar to how your electric toothbrush works. Embedded coils beneath the road that wirelessly top up a battery in real time. It sounds a little bit science fiction, but early studies highlight a major challenge. If charging is limited to certain lanes, drivers may cluster in those lanes, creating bottlenecks and slowing down overall traffic. The concept still has promise, but it'll need to be cleverly managed, like dynamic pricing, scheduling systems, or even dedicated routes for it to fully work. For now, it's a fascinating glimpse into what the future of EV infrastructure might look like. And finally, a little bit about Cyber news, something that most EV buyers probably haven't thought about. Cybersecurity risks. A new study has revealed that hackers could potentially analyze any EV's battery usage patterns to figure out surprisingly personal details. Things like who's driving, when the car is being used, how many passengers are inside the vehicle, where it goes to. It works because every driver's style and routine leaves a kind of fingerprint on the battery. The concern is that if this data isn't properly encrypted, it could be exploited for surveillance or even targeted advertising. It's a reminder that as EVs become more connected, protecting your data is just as important as protecting your range. Expect to hear more about this in the coming years. So that's the roundup for September 2025. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments which story stood out to you the most. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.